What's a memory you have from a scene that you've been in or a scene that you've seen that really stuck with you for, I mean, I'm sure there's plenty of them, but describe one.
There's a scene that I did, God, this is such a great scene, and I was lucky to be able to have done it last year at the Second City 50th anniversary. It was a scene that we did on Mainstage that was, I'm really lucky, not lucky, but blessed. I've been blessed in having amazing casts that I've worked with. And my cast at the Second City was Steve Carell, Steve Colbert, Amy Sedaris, Jackie Hoffman, Paul Dinello, all these great people. I hope they're doing okay now. I never hear about it. But there was a scene that Steve Carell, Steve Colbert, the cast that we did, Steve Carell, Steve Colbert, Ruthie Rudnick, Fran Adams, Scott Allman, Jackie Hoffman and I did in a Mainstage production, and it was called Maya. And the conceit was Carell and Colbert were getting off of a train and they were entering the scene, and Carell, it's a long train ride, long train ride. Carell says to Colbert, thank you, Colbert says, for coming to my hometown, it was really great. And then somebody rushes in, Ruthie Rudnick rushes in and says, grabs Steve and Colbert by the arms and goes, oh my God, Shirley Wentworth, it's so great to see you. Oh, I can't believe you're back. And Colbert said, oh, it's so good to see you, Missy. Missy Kensington is my friend Steve. And he's like, Steve was like, what the hell? And then, can I see you later? And she runs off, and Carell says to Colbert, what's that about? And Colbert says, oh, I forgot to tell you, when I come home to my hometown, I'm an old black woman. And it was a great scene, and I entered as a guy named Nathan, who was his love interest, but this town would accept a love between a white guy and an old black woman. There was, I hadn't seen her in a long time, my character hadn't seen her in a long time, and I came in with a hat looking very adorable. As an old man, and I used my Pepperidge Farm voice. Surely Wentworth, you know that. And Colbert just kind of being Colbert, I asked him if I could see him later. And then we looked in each other's eyes. And there's this moment, and this is of course a written scene, and we looked in each other's eyes, and we just locked eyes, and then got closer and closer and closer and closer, and then just kissed. And it had this beautiful, beautiful kiss. And it was very tender. And it was so exciting because you knew what was coming. It was a moment that could not be sullied. And it was a moment of true love between these two characters. It was also dangerous at the time. Not dangerous, but what Anne Bogart might call violent, in that it just is like unexpected. And we kissed and we pulled away, and we lived in the wake of that uncomfortableness of a relationship that could never work. The level of it being fiction, and also a moment where two men were kissing, two heterosexual men were kissing. Two heterosexual men were kissing in 1995. Two heterosexual men are kissing in 1995 in a room of 350 drunk people. Who shouted out the rudest fucking things. Women mostly. Drunken women. And we would write it on the wall backstage. And I think when they redid the wall, they tore that part out and somebody has the part of the wall. But that was just one of the most beautiful things. And if you go to my website, I have pictures of it, and also somebody YouTubed it, and it's called Steve Colbert Kisses Some Dude. Apparently, it was also in I don't know why, the National Enquirer 2 weeks ago. Somebody sent me a text saying, "Oh, you're in the Enquirer," and I read it as Esquire. So I went to Esquire. I read it again, Enquirer. Of course. But that scene was really awesome because it was really an acting scene, and I think that entire group that I mentioned, all those wonderful people, came from a theatrical background. I know Jackie got her degree in NYU. I don't know if you know Jackie Hoffman. She's just an amazing actress. She opened up. She opened Hairspray. She played a gym teacher in Hairspray. She opened up. She was in Addams Family. She played Grandma in Addams Family on Broadway. I think she's still doing it on Broadway. She's done a bunch of different shows. She's done the stuff with Joseph Kapp over there, and it's just really great. But everybody had a theatrical background. Now, the toothpaste is already out of the tube, but for the most part, the teachers that are teaching improvisation now are improvisers who are teaching improvisation. The teachers that were teaching improvisation when I was taking improv classes were actors who were actors. But now, so there's an acting background that flows into that. So I believe that that has a lot to do with why scenes are shorter and people are playing a game. Say what?
Punchline-ier.
Punchline-ier. But there's also other influences that come into it, like I don't want to disparage any group, but the initials are UCB. They're really into like the game of the scene, game of the scene, game of the scene. So what happens is there's a list that you do. That's the game of the scene. Is a list. And once you're done with the list, your scene's over and you edit it out. I believe that there can be more than just that. And I feel that you can have the game of the scene, but you still need the scene underneath the game of the scene. So that when you're done with it, so that you're not panicking. Like, I got nothing else. And what also ends up happening is it's taking a lot of people out of the fold, because a lot of people are saying, I gotta be clever. And I don't want to be clever. I got to be clever, and I'm not clever. And so their ego is stopping them from moving on. But really, there's a lot of teachers that are saying, you need, I talked to somebody, one of my students the other day, who said, one of the teachers said, you've got to take a class that's going to drill into your head the game of the scene. And the same thing with the groundlings. Students said, as soon as they drilled it into my head, and I'm thinking,